My idea was that when God said he'd provide the money, that at the first of every month I could write a check for the rent. Well, little did I know that there would be bigger challenges coming than that $2,500 that I needed. The Lord would not let me raise funds. He wouldn't let me talk about it to anybody. He just said, come talk to me and I'll take care of it. But he didn't take care of it, and he didn't take care of it, and he didn't take care of it. And at one point, that bill to Dick got to $18,000. I owed him a year's rent. Now, why he let me stay, I don't know, but he did. And the thing that I think is pretty exciting, that ever since the Lord sent the money in to pay that $18,000 off, that first center has had at least a bank account that every month would more than pay for the rent and for their utilities. Now, that doesn't mean that it will happen that way all the time, but that's how it has happened at this point. In 1997, we had 6 centers opened. I thought the Lord was going to ask me to open up a center for women's ministries, and then eventually I was just going to retire, and really retire. But other communities began to call us and come talk to us and say, our community needs what you have to offer. How can you help us? So the thing that we do, when their approaches are made to us about coming into their community, we help them by giving them instructions and providing materials and things like that for them, so they can gather their people within their own community. Each community is responsible for their own building. They're responsible for their own volunteers. They're responsible for their own finances. We can't provide all of that out of headquarters. We just do oversight and help them. And it has been amazing to me how the communities have evolved. We're in several states at this time and growing. And then in 2004, previous to 2004, the Lord began to point out to me scriptures that would talk about ministry in other places, like in the islands and in the ends of the earth, and the expansion that was going to take place. And I felt like that I had enough scriptures that I knew we would be going international, but I did not think that would happen in my lifetime. But in 2004, we opened our first international center in Sierra Leone. And that morning, I walked into the office, and Cheryl, who works out of our office, was preparing something to put in a frame. And I thought she was getting things ready for the annual meeting. And so I just spoke and walked by and walked onto my office. And in about 5 minutes, she brought in and handed me this framed. It was really an email from Sierra Leone that said, "We are now opened and a bona fide center for women's ministries." I cried the whole day because it was something I never thought I would get to see. But God has been so good, and we just keep growing and expanding and growing and expanding. Our training materials that we have written are 14 two-hour sessions of basic peer counselor training, and that is being translated. The first language we translated it in was Spanish, and the second one was in Mandarin Chinese, and it is constantly being prepared for other people that speak different languages. And I can only say it's gone way beyond anything that I ever thought would happen. And all I know how to do is to give God the glory and the honor and the praise. And I want to close with a couple of things out of my journal, and I'm just going to read them. A couple of weeks after opening the center, I was so personally attacked by Satan over giving up my job and stepping out in faith to thousands of dollars of responsibility with no financial base. With renewed dedication, I made this entry. Lord, I my cross hath taken. I've left all to follow thee. Those words are very true for me today. There's nothing I have left apart from that I've not already given up for him. Gone is the ambition to do good things. Gone is the pride of accomplishments and abilities. Gone is the security of job, insurance, and secure retirement. Lord, tonight I stand naked before you with nothing to give but my availability to be used by you. Come, Lord, take the brokenness of my life, the emptiness of my selfness, and let it spring forth in fruitfulness for you. And there's one more that I want to read. In my times of doubt, there were two statements that have been a real mainstay for me. One is from Oswald Chambers, and the other from a source that I don't know where it came from. Oswald Chambers says, we may face situations beyond our reserves, but never beyond God's resources. And the other statement is, what God calls us to do is always impossible. Impossible without his help. It's always too big for us, and we must depend on him. I'm done.